Hey, what's going on, y'all? Big Sarge here. Just want to hop on right quick and give you all a quick snippet of my upcoming podcast today. Um, what I want to talk about is the upcoming matchup between the Houston Texans and the Baltimore Ravens. It's really funny that the Houston Texans had to play the Super Bowl champions and have to play the Super Bowl contenders in back-to-back weeks. But I think that it'll give the Houston Texans a measuring stick on where they are, what they need to work on, and where they need to improve. And it's hard because they did not have any preseason warm-up, any preseason game action to be ready for a team like the Kansas City Chiefs or the Baltimore Ravens. And so it's one of those things where you have to take the good with the bad. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Houston Texans are going to be, going forward. I want to revisit what we think about them come week 9, come week 10, once they get themselves together and get acclimated to practicing and game speed and things like that. And so, I want to see what Deshaun Watson is going to be able to do with those weapons that he has. And so I just want to, like I said, do a small snippet on this week's. Well, one of the things that I'm going to be paying close attention to when it comes to the one of the things that I want to be paying close attention to this week in the Baltimore Ravens and Houston Texans game. So the Texans should be ready or should be more prepared for a matchup with the Baltimore Ravens because they play the Kansas City Chiefs first. And the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens, they kind of mirror each other to the point of they have really good quarterbacks. They have a really good running game. They have really good receivers and really good tight ends. And that's what I want to focus on today is the speed of Marquise Brown and Devin Duvernay for the Baltimore Ravens. And that's going to be something that they're going to have to pay close attention to this week. And they should be ready because on last week they had to face a lot of speed as well with that Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver core. Also, Mark Andrews, the tight end for the Baltimore Ravens, he's a handful just like Travis Kelce. Now, he isn't one of those players who can do the exact same things that Travis Kelce can, because you can split Travis Kelce out and make him a wide receiver, and he'll still be as effective as all the other wide receivers. And, from the tight end position, you can also bring him in and he's effective. So Travis is, I'll put it like this. There's only a couple of tight ends in the NFL that can do, let me see, how can I put this? There's only a couple of tight ends in the NFL that can be split out from the wide receiver position from their natural position of tight end. That's Travis Kelce, that's Kittle out of San Francisco, and it's Mark Andrews. Now, out of those three tight ends, the only two effective ones at wide receiver is Kelce and Kittle. But Mark Andrews is one of the favorite targets for Lamar Jackson. And when he gets into the defensive backfield, he's very, very effective. There's a play on last week. I think it was their first touchdown. On their first touchdown, Mark Andrews is in the back of the end zone wide open. And he was so wide open that Lamar Jackson almost overthrew him. It took a great catch by him to be able to score the touchdown. And so those of y'all who know, y'all seen that I did a breakdown of a play between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans on last week, and it showed Travis Kelce being open. Travis Kelce was getting into the creases. They wasn't using him to stretch the field, of course. They wasn't using him to flare him out or get him on towards the sideline. They were using him in very intricate spaces. They'll put him, they'll run a run play here and just put him out into the flats just to see who's going to cover him, and then they'll come back to him. They'll run wide receiver screens for him. That's the same thing that the Baltimore Ravens are going to do with Mark Andrews because he's very dependable and he's a safety net for Lamar Jackson. Outside of all the great things that Lamar Jackson can do as far as running, And as far as throwing, his passing has improved each year he's been in the league. But Mark Andrews is that safety net for him. Now, you put a Pro Bowl player like Mark Andrews in that Baltimore Ravens offense, and it makes it very hard for a defense to stop them. Because if he dinks and dunks to Mark Andrews a lot, you almost forget about the speed that you have on the outside with Marquise Brown, who on last week had 5 catches for 101 yards. And now with Devin Duvernay on the other side, you also have a dependable Willie Snead. And so it's going to be hard for new defensive coordinator, Texas defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver, to see all of that or to stop all of that on a consistent basis. Because once you stop all of that, you still have the threat of Lamar Jackson breaking the pocket and getting into spaces that you don't want him to be. You also have Lamar Jackson being able to. They have designed run plays for Lamar Jackson. Now, what do? Okay, well, we got to come up a little bit so we can stop Lamar from breaking out of the pocket. And then what does that do? Open it up for Marquise Brown, Devin Duvernay, Willie Snead, and Mark Andrews. And so this is just as tough a test for the Houston Texans as it was last week. They opened up the season with 2 of the best teams in the NFL. When you look at top 5 teams in the NFL, you see Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens. Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens. What it's going to do, though, is give head coach Bill O'Brien something on film to see, okay, these are the areas of improvement that we need to work on. These are the areas of improvement that we need to work on. And so I just want to give you all a little snippet, something that you all should watch out for when it comes to the Texans on defense this week and stopping Mark Andrews, Marquise Brown, and Devin Duvernay. If they can get the cornerbacks to contain that speed on the outside, maybe, just maybe, they'll have a chance to disrupt Lamar Jackson just a little bit. Hey, this has been Big Sarge with Sports Talk with Big Sarge, available on all platforms. Wherever you listen to a podcast at, Big Sarge is on there. I'm out.